We're talking actors and directors who put on the shows.
We're talking playwrights and designers who you'll want to know.
From the very first rehearsal to the final curtain call.
We might be off Broadway, but we're talking about it all.
'Cause we're two local gals
With global pals, it's everything, everything, everything theater.
with Benita
And Ellen. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Everything Theater Podcast, the podcast where we talk about
everything theater. And boy, this is a big show, or as Ed Sullivan used to say, it's a big shoe. I don't think that's the way he talked, right? Hey, I'm Benita Zahn,
and I'm Ellen Cribbs.
and we've got a spectacular show ahead with a spectacular guest. And we were teasing as we were getting started. We're going to introduce him and just say, take it away. It's Jackson Murphy, who is our man in Hollywood, talking everything Oscars.
Hi, Benita. Hi, Ellen. It is so great to be back on the podcast. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
we were right. Go ahead. Sorry, Ellen. We're so excited to have you.
Yeah, we both were jumping the gun of saying that we think this is the last in-person episode we ever did way back in, what was it, like February 2020, I think, right before the world shut down.
I know.
Over at the senior housing in, right?
Yeah, we did it over there, and I have to say it was really fun, and as always, but we were with a bunch of older people who were all together, and obviously about a month later, everybody started separating. You didn't want people in such close quarters, and I remember some people were actually sick, and we had a Q&A session, and people came up and used the same microphone, and I thought about it a couple months later and was like, I think, Benita, you were even a little under the weather, if I remember correctly. So yes, crazy to think about that now, that happened just before COVID, but it is fun to now be on this Zoom edition with the two of you.
And now it doesn't matter how you feel, although thankfully we were all feeling good.
Yes.
I said, I'm just in from a run, and I look it. But it's nice to be able to get out and run. And we may see my partner in crime show up behind me, my 80-pound black lab mix. He often comes around for this. So Jackson, you're just back from California.
Yes. I was there for the Critics' Choice Awards, which aired on Sunday, March 13th on the CW and TBS. And it was so fun getting to see the stars, see the fellow Critics' Choice Award members, Critics' Choice Association members, my colleagues from around the country who go to the show every year when it's in person and get to shake hands and sit at the tables with the nominated stars and see the 3-hour show live. And it was so much fun. It was great.
Had you been before?
Yes, I've been a Critics' Choice member for 10 years, and this was, I think, the 8th time I went in person to the Critics' Choice Awards. And but the first time at this new hotel, the Fairmont Century Plaza Hotel, gorgeous, fantastic ballroom, really cool place. We'd been at some other locations in the past, but this hotel was really nice.
Jackson, what were you, like 10 the first time you went?
Yeah, it was about 10 years ago. I was about 12 or 13 the first time going to Critics' Choice, and just amazed that we had so much access, especially during the commercial breaks, to go up to these stars. The first year it was Daniel Day-Lewis and Hugh Jackman and Robert De Niro. You could just go right up to them, shake their hand, take pictures with them, talk with them about their movies. And this year, it was Will Smith and Lin-Manuel Miranda and Jared Leto and so many more who were so kind, so gracious, so awesome to chat with. I talked with the director of Dune for about 4 minutes about the movie. It was another great experience.
Got to ask about Lin-Manuel.
He was fantastic. You know, he's the person my mother loves everything Lin-Manuel Miranda. And she said, you got to meet him. So met him before the show started, talked with him about the amazing year he's had, right? I mean, my goodness.
Gosh. Yeah.
4 movies. 4 major movies that he was a part of in animation world, which I'm thoroughly invested in. Encanto, nominated for 3 Oscars, and Vivo, which was also very good, and that's on Netflix. And then Tick, Tick, Boom, nominated Andrew Garfield lead actor. He directed Tick, Tick, Boom, and also In the Heights, which kind of kicked the year off for him with the movies. So yeah, talked with him briefly about all 4 of those and got a picture with him. He said, tell your mother I say hi. And he was fantastic.
Now, do you think this is the year that he's going to get his EGOT? For our listeners who don't know, that's the Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony, and he's only missing the Oscar and he's nominated. Do you think it's the year?
I don't, but it's not impossible. So he's nominated for original song for Dos Oruguitas, the song from Encanto that he wrote. He was nominated 5 years ago for How Far I'll Go from Moana. He actually won a Grammy for that, but did not win the Oscar. So I think he could win. But man, the Academy loves James Bond songs, and No Time to Die, Billie Eilish seems to have the momentum right now. So I'm thinking No Time to Die is going to win, but I will not be shocked if Lin-Manuel Miranda is up on that stage.
Tick, tick, boom.
Tick, Tick, Boom. So Tick, Tick, Boom has 2 nominations. One is Andrew Garfield for lead actor. And a couple months ago, I might have thought maybe he had a legitimate chance, him and a Will Smith, even a Denzel showdown. It doesn't seem to be going that way right now. When award season goes on forever, and it always seems to, it goes 3-4 months, the tide changes and the momentum changes. And I think Andrew's momentum was hot early, not so much now, more in Will Smith's favor for his incredible performance in King Richard. I thought Andrew Garfield was also fantastic in Tick, Tick, Boom. He learned to sing and play the piano and do all these amazing things and act the heck out of that role as Jonathan Larson. The other nomination for Tick, Tick, Boom is for editing. And it could win for editing because there is so much talk about momentum, the fast pace of Tick, Tick, Boom, the way it goes. As of now, I'm thinking King Richard's also going to win in that category, but I also won't be shocked if it goes to Tick, Tick, Boom.
Cumberbatch, where is he fitting in all of this?
Yeah, Cumberbatch could have won the BAFTA the other night for lead actor over Will Smith. I was sort of thinking maybe that'll happen and it'll set up that kind of showdown, but it went to Will Smith, so it seems to be going in that direction, though I think Cumberbatch absolutely gives the best performance in The Power of the Dog. When I walked out of that theater, I didn't love the movie, but I thought, yeah, I can see Cumberbatch getting nominated for this.
Little bit of dust up there with over the role that he played, and then Jane Campion got herself in a little bit of, well, she got herself in a tight spot. Is it as long as they're talking about you and spelling your name right, it's okay, or is this way beyond that?
It's interesting. So with the Jane Campion comment that happened during the Critics' Choice Awards, I was there. I watched it happen, and it was a little awkward in the room. I think, she apologized for it, which was the right thing to do. And she knew, look, oh my gosh, Oscar voting starts in 4 days. I need to apologize now. I need to save this campaign for me to try to win the Oscar for director and not have it go to somebody else. So she had to apologize for it. For sure. I think Jane Campion is still going to win for Best Director, even with what happened at the Critics' Choice Awards. But hey, it got Critics' Choice even more publicity based off of what happened. So there you go. All publicity is pretty good, as they say.
Yeah, because it's for those who don't know, she made a comment about the Williams sisters.
Yeah.
That Campion had to do what she's done with the competition with men,
right?
And slighting the incredibly talented and accomplished women that they didn't. But
I think her message didn't get across of what she thought she was going to say, in her head. I think it didn't. When you're up on that stage, and boy, that's quite a room. You've got hundreds and hundreds of people looking at you, and you're watched by millions at home, and you think you're saying one thing and you can easily say something else. So I think the intention there was off a little bit of what she was thinking versus what she was saying in that moment.
Okay, Ellen, that's a note for you and me when we win our biggies.
Exactly. Have it memorized.
Thank you, everybody.
They flash that wrap it up. And then they do it even faster. I was watching the monitor as some big names like Will Smith and others were up there accepting the awards. They start with wrap it up and it goes at a certain speed. And then they say, please wrap it up. And it goes even faster. So that was what was happening too with those Jane Campion speeches, because she was talking for a bit. Yeah.
You're kind.
Well, I think we have to also talk about, because we're a little talking about Best Actor right now, because we're a theater podcast, we got to talk about Denzel Macbeth. Thoughts on his performance? I just saw it, and I have some thoughts.
Okay, what are your thoughts, Ellen? I'm curious.
Well, I thought it was just interesting that the whole production of that Macbeth to me felt very monotone. It felt very like everything was pulled back and it was very simplistic. You know, the emotion was not huge. Everything was very tame for my preference of Macbeth. And so I was a little underwhelmed by Denzel, I gotta say.
Interesting. Yeah, I think he gets better as the film goes on. I'm not a huge fan of this new Macbeth movie. Not surprised that Frances McDormand is not in the awards conversation this year because her performance as Lady Macbeth isn't spectacular by any means. But what was interesting about watching this Macbeth film is the way Denzel delivers the lines. He has his own style and his own rhythm. And early on, it was like, well, it's the Denzel style clashing with Shakespeare and it's not gelling. And then as the film goes on, I think the rhythm gets a little better. So he at least, I think, makes the film watchable enough.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't think he's in the running for the Oscar, though.
No, not this year. No. In fact, when he was there the other night, very briefly, and he sort of came in off to the side, and they gave Best Actor away in the first hour, and then he sort of scooted out once he realized that Will Smith won. He's been championing Will Smith because they faced off 20 years ago when Will Smith was up for Ali and Denzel won for Training Day. So I think he's thrilled that this is Will's year.
Yeah. And I love Denzel. He's amazing and so talented. But Will Smith was beautiful in King Richard.
Yes.
I've got to talk a little bit about Don't Look Up on the term from the list of movies nominated.
Okay.
You either love it or you hate it. You either think it's like hoochie ha wah wah, or you think it's a little precious, self-impressed. But it's getting a lot of talk.
It is getting a lot of talk. Outside of the score, which I think is my favorite score of a movie this year, I do not like this film at all. It did absolutely nothing for me. It tries way too hard. Oh, Benita is praising my thoughts. It's a mess, right? It's a mess.
Yes. I thought, just get over yourself.
Yeah. You don't need all this preaching. We don't need, there's a moment where the movie turns, I tolerated the first hour-ish, and there's a moment where the movie turns, and it's a moment where the mission, the thought behind the mission changes. And from that point on, it doesn't do a thing right. It just does not.
It's almost like two different people wrote it. And we've seen that happen. Something happens, there's a dust up, there's a death, and they bring somebody else in to direct or to finish a script.
Yes.
And there's a real shift in tone and in perspective. But I'm going to agree with you that I just thought after a while, and listen, I got good friends who think this is the best thing since sliced white bread, and I think to myself, what were you watching?
Yeah.
I didn't know
I will say, I was very much on the fence about the movie. I didn't dislike it as much as it seems you two did, but I wasn't a huge fan. But it did get me, and I don't want to give away the end in case our listeners haven't listened, but the idea, the concept behind how really important things in this world get politicized and that is destroying our civilization and humanity really got me at the end. And I started crying because I got so upset that, like with the coronavirus and things like that, of, how these things could be maintained, but because of misinformation and people trying to push their own agendas, it's not.
Right. I was just crying and upset because I felt like I wasted 2 hours and 25 minutes of my life.
My head hurt because they were hitting me so hard, every turn. It was like, did you get it? I'm like, yeah. You know what? 40 years of news. I got it.
Yeah, that's Adam McKay, right? He did it with Vice. He did it with Big Short. And this is the worst of the three.
Okay. I liked you before. I like you even more now, Jackson. No. So, the list of best for Best Picture is a scale of 1 to 10 this year, Jackson.
Maybe a 4.5, and I'm being generous. I mean, my favorite of the 10, and I've got a list here with me too to make sure we hit them. My favorite of the 10 is Licorice Pizza. It's a film that I think has the best spirit to it. King Richard, a close second, but it was pure escapism. I transported to the 70s and Hollywood, and I felt like I wanted to stay there. I felt like those times were better than now. And you know that,
What does your mother say?
for a film to do that, I think is successful. And what Paul Thomas Anderson does with the writing of it, so much detail put in, I think Alana Haim should be in that Best Actress category. She gave my favorite lead actress performance of the year. Cooper Hoffman, also great. Bradley Cooper, even with his small role, makes the most of it without question. Yeah, it was in my top 10 for the year, and it's my favorite. And the rest of them, you know, okay, didn't love to terrible. You know, I will say though, Drive My Car is very good too. Drive My Car is up there. Drive My Car may be third favorite. But like Nightmare Alley did not need to be on this list. That's a dud. Don't Look Up didn't need to be on this list. I am not big fans of Belfast and Coda. I think both of them are very overrated this award season. Highly overrated performances, story problems. Yeah, I have lots of problems with those two.
Talking about Power of the Dog.
Yeah, it's just okay. You know, it's just okay. Cumberbatch is very good. It looks great. Not a powerhouse. Not an emotional. No, I don't. That performance is. As I was watching it, and I'm thinking, man, she's got Best Supporting Actress buzz. Why? Yeah. And then what? And then there's West Side Story, which I like. I don't love. Some people say, oh, it's Spielberg's best thing he's done in the 21st century. No. Look at what Spielberg did with Lincoln. Look at what Spielberg did with The Post, which was my favorite film of 2017. Look at what he did with A Bridge of Spies. You know, these are gritty movies. These are deeper movies than I think this West Side Story is. It's nice. It's fine. I don't think it's outstanding, and it's not the best thing Spielberg's done by any means.
Should a remake even be included?
I guess, yes. I mean, all movies, look, all movies should have a shot. I think documentaries should be nominated for Best Picture, but that doesn't seem to ever happen. Animated movies should be up for Best Picture more than have already been nominated over the years, which is just 3. So every movie should have a shot, even a remake. But yeah, there was a lot of buzz and controversy and thought going into this. Well, should Spielberg have done this? Why him? Why this story? Why this movie? And then it turned out good. Some people think amazing. So I'm not surprised it's on this list because of the reaction to it. Did you ladies like West Side Story, this new West Side Story?
I thought it was fine. I really struggle when I see the original of something. I really struggle when it's redone. So as much as I really appreciated the authentic casting, which I think was the best element of the movie, I don't know. I'm an original girl. Yeah.
Yep. Really, what she said.
Okay, interesting. Because yeah, I haven't talked to too many other people who are kind of on our same wavelength of.
I got to tell you, I liked the utilization of Cheetah Rivera. In
Rita Moreno.
You mean Rita Moreno? Yeah.
Great. Yeah. I'm already thinking. You know, I've been listening to Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Ah, okay.
And then with William Hurt passing. So
right.
My mind is
clearly.
That's all right. Yeah, Rita was good. You know, there was buzz early that she was going to be a supporting actress Oscar nominee. She was a supporting actress Critics' Choice nominee. I saw her there the other night. Didn't get to say hi to her, but I saw her there. And but not surprised that she's not on this Oscar ballot because it is a small role, though it could have been the spot that Judi Dench took for Belfast. And when you think about Judi Dench, who won for an 8-minute performance in Shakespeare in Love 23 years ago, you think, wow, she's been nominated about 5 or 6 other times, hasn't won outside of the 8-minute role in other years. If it wasn't Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, who I think will win, Judi Dench might win this Oscar because, gosh, it's like a career achievement win. It would be a career achievement win for Judi Dench. So if there's an upset of the night in these acting categories, ever since the nominations came out, I've been thinking, wow, this Judi Dench nomination seems tempting to pick as a win.
Yeah, I didn't recognize her for the first couple minutes of Belfast. I was like, wait a minute, who is that? And then it dawned on me. Yeah, she did
I
a great
haven't
job.
yet to see that one.
Okay. Oh, you have yet to see Belfast. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's, I'm happy for the young man, Jude Hill, who won our Critics' Choice Award for Young Actor. And it was cool to see him on stage. I'm happy that he's getting this attention. Not a fan of the story, the direction, the way the situations go. Not a huge fan. Doesn't have a lot of meat and punch to it.
Does Dune belong on the list?
No, but I like, as I talked with Denis Villeneuve the other night, who I think made a masterpiece in Blade Runner 2049 and should have been nominated for that 4 years ago. I did say to him, which is the truth, the visuals are quite amazing in Dune, the sound work, the look of it all, the feel of it all. Technically, Dune is quite an achievement, and it's only part one. There's going to be a part two that he's going to take on. So in that respect, that's why I got nominated, because of the technical achievements surrounding it. But as a movie, no, it's not even one of my top 40 favorite movies of last year.
Wow.
Ellen and I were, shaking our heads over the omission of the awards that will be involved in the production. Go ahead, go down that street, Jackson.
Yeah. Why are they doing this? They should have learned their lesson from a few years ago when they tried this. They were going to 3 years ago, I believe, get rid of about 5 or 6 categories from the telecast, and the outcry was so huge that they brought them back. And now, so quickly, they want to do this again, and the outcry is even bigger, but they're sticking to their word. As of this recording of this episode of Everything Theater Podcast, they are keeping them out of the show live. What they want to do is like with the Tonys and some of the others, and do them beforehand and then show 12 seconds of them as they come back from a commercial break. But that's wrong. It's the Academy Awards. It's only 23 categories. It's the most prestigious award show there is, with the Tonys and the Grammys and the Emmys. It's the most prestigious for film and maybe above all in the awards world. And ABC just wants higher ratings. They want musical numbers. They're throwing in the Encanto song, the other Encanto song, talk about Bruno. They want to do a performance of that instead. Why? They just want to congratulate themselves at ABC and Disney. Why? They want to do another James Bond tribute, which the BAFTAs, the British, just did. Copycats. Why? They want to do all these things. It's a terrible decision, and I hope the ratings are down because of that. There are other factors and other things, the Oscars, that I hope go well, but because of that, I hope they realize that this was a mistake.
And see, we here at Everything Theater, we love our movies, but we're theater people. And I got to say, theater people know how to do an award show, right? The Tonys are always so entertaining. The hosts are always amazing. And they do, songs from the shows that are nominated, which makes sense, and every year I'm disappointed in the entertainment for the Oscars. So to hear that they're making more space for like host segments and entertainment, not interested at all.
But in general, awards shows are tanking. And I don't know if we can talk about it, if it's that people are just so jaded about awards, hashtag Oscars so white. Golden Globes have surely taken it, that those awards have been tarnished terribly.
Yeah.
Is it that, or is there something else? Do we just no longer want to see people celebrate it? I don't know. Is there something deeper?
It's a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of, and they all kind of came together at the same time, which was that 2016, 2017 period where a lot changed in our country and a lot changed with the award shows. The politics factor is huge. One side of the aisle loves these award shows and the other side of the aisle couldn't care less anymore because it's too political. So there's that. That same year, we had the envelope gate at the Oscars, and that completely changed the reputation of the Academy. And I firmly believe ever since then, they have made continuously poor decisions when it comes to this show. It started with that, and they have never recovered. So it's that. It's people not interested in people giving each other gold statues, all the rich people, there's that whole factor. And this idea that, look, these movie stars are not as much on a pedestal anymore as they once were, because we can watch them on our phones. We can watch them in our hands here. And we have more access to them on social media every day. More people have the opportunity to see these stars out and about and in person in various ways nowadays. So it's a little bit of everything. And about 5-6 years ago, it all just came together, and that's I think where we're at. Yeah, it's crazy. And people, I bet when you two were younger and I was an infant or not even existent, I mean, the Academy Awards and the Tony Awards were so huge and so beloved, right? That you would never think they would get this low on people's radar.
I mean, when I was a kid, my mother would not let me watch really the Tonys because she didn't want to feed my addiction, my passion. I'm like, seriously? I mean, she's been an angel watching out from the other side for more years than I can, but seriously, Ma, you can't beat the theater out of the kid. You can't. But so that goes back to the awards. So who's left watching if we're no longer, and I know people used to be interested in who's smooching who and shouldn't be and all that kind of stuff. I could care less. For me, and I think for Ellen, for you, it's about the work. So how do we bring it back to celebrating the work / craft rather than the, hoochie coochie,
Right.
like, yeah, I do like looking at the clothes. I was going to say costumes, but
Right.
That's not what it's about.
Right. No, it's about the work. It's tough, I think, too, because these last 2 years, a lot of these nominated movies have been on streaming. So not everyone going to the theater for all of them has been tough. I think, what's it going to take? It's going to take all the categories being awarded. That's a start. That's a starting point. That's a starting point.
Something interesting, Jackson. Do you think that as a society, that our appreciation for the work has diminished because we can see it right here? That somehow, because the screen got small, we think the work got small too.
And I think people at home, one of the downsides of COVID was people being lax at home watching movies and then bringing that attitude to the theater. I've seen it. I've seen it over this last year, being back at the theater, of the people keep their masks on if they needed to in those months, and that's fine. But sort of the nonchalant factor, talking during a movie, the cell phone a little bit, but just more interaction and putting the feet up where you shouldn't, and all of that at home comfort, and just watching the movie and knowing I can go to Netflix every Friday and get a new movie. Okay, here's this one. Here's the next one. Here's the next one. Here's the next one. Yes, you're right. If it's not appreciating the work quite as much, unless it's outstanding, it's because of that. Yeah. Now I want to ask you
to be able to watch all of them from my couch, though.
It is true. That's what people love. I mean, people love the bring it to me factor, but then there are some people, the core movie people, who want to go to the theater to experience Dune on the big screen. They don't want to watch it at their house. So what's that percentage of the whole pie? Mm-hmm. Is it getting smaller? Is it really getting smaller? That's what all these award show people and the movie analysts are thinking. I want to mention, before we run out of time, a couple more musical nominees, because I want to make sure too that the listeners know that Cyrano is up for costumes. Did you ladies see Cyrano?
I did.
Okay. Did you like it?
Well, Cyrano is like one of my favorite plays. I'll preface that. I thought Peter Dinklage should have been nominated. I love Peter Dinklage, and I thought he did a great job. I hated the music.
Oh, wow.
Hated the music.
Wow.
I wish they'd just taken it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Peter Dinklage was nominated for the Critics' Choice for Best Actor, but he was not an Oscar nominated. Yeah, the music's not too memorable. There is a song with the soldiers towards the end that kind of comes out of nowhere. It's almost like from a different movie. And I
Right.
thought that was the best part in the whole film, but it had almost basically nothing to do with the rest of the movie. So I like that. And another musical nominee is Robin Robin. And I write for animationscoop.com and you know, been thoroughly into the animation world for a long time. This is Aardman Animation, the makers of Wallace and Gromit, their first musical. And it's so lovely to watch. This is on Netflix. It's a half hour, basically a holiday special, but it counts as an animated short film Oscar nominee because they were able to put it into a theater and qualify it. It's a lovely holiday story about a robin and a magpie and making Christmas wishes come true. And it's very sweet, and it's got some nice songs to it and a cool rhythm to it. So for families, if you haven't checked that out, I would recommend that. And one other film is not nominated, but I did meet Caitlin Dever at Critics' Choice, and she was in Dear Evan Hansen. Now, Dear Evan Hansen was one of the other big musicals from this past year that I liked her in it very much. I thought Ben Platt was good. I thought Amy Adams was good in it, but I thought it had major third act problems, and that's why it's not on this Best Picture list. Did you ladies see Dear Evan Hansen?
I saw it on Broadway.
Okay.
I saw it on Broadway, and I saw the movie. I like the movie more than most people seem to like it, but
Interesting. Did it enhance? Because I didn't see the Broadway show, but I know there were a lot of technical aspects to some of the songs that I felt were kind of missing from the movie, and
yes,
felt
the
a
play
little
was more
empty.
powerful. Yeah.
Okay, but you appreciated the movie, which is good. It
Got to see Ben Platt do it, which I
Yeah.
didn't get to see on
And
Broadway.
that was a very controversial casting. And in
Yeah.
fact, we discussed that. We just spoke with, as our listeners know, with a couple of the performers that come through in the tour playing at Proctor's. You know, it's, and we've discussed this on our program about not being of the same of a particular ethnicity or age and playing a role. Is that the magic of theater, or is that inappropriate? And that's, you know.
Right. I think for him, they had to attach him because he's what made the show on Broadway so successful, and so are in the Tonys. It was probably a situation of him or don't do the movie at all. So,
But in the end, it distracted from the movie.
I didn't find it distracting. I don't think I found it as distracting as other people. Did you feel the same way, Ellen, that it wasn't that distracting?
Yeah, I didn't think about how old he was. I believed him.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Because he
you
has
know what
such
I'm
a good
saying?
voice.
I mean, the press
Yeah.
was all negative because of that.
They were.
Right.
They were. But he has such a good voice, and his scenes with Caitlin Dever were really good. It seems that Amy Adams were very good. Amy Adams, who is one of the sweetest people, I've met her on several occasions, and she got a Razzie nomination for Dear Evan Hansen, and she also got one this year for a film called The Woman in the Window, which she was also very good in, even though the film was kind of a mess. I didn't understand why. I mean, the talk about irrelevant with the Golden Globes and the Razzies are both kind of irrelevant in this day and age. But yeah, I think Dear Evan Hansen as a whole is not quite as bad as other people say it is, but it takes some turns, I think, in that third act that just don't work.
Okay, 2.5 minutes. Pick the winners.
Pick the winners. All right, here we go. I'll do the big categories. Animated feature will go to The Mitchells versus the Machines. It's a tough year to pick the winner because it could be Encanto, could also be Flea, which is up for documentary film, international film, and animated film. Flea could be the wild card. I'm picking Mitchells versus the Machines. Your song winner is No Time to Die, though don't be surprised if it's something else. Supporting actor Troy Kotsur for Coda. He's been doing very well over the past few weeks. Ariana DeBose will win for West Side Story. West Side Story has 7 nominations. I think Ariana DeBose will be the only win that West Side Story gets. Lead actor will go to Will Smith. It'll be a big surprise if it's not him. Lead actress, wow, I'm gonna go with Kristen Stewart. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm gonna go with Kristen Stewart. I just don't think enough people are gonna vote for Chastain for Tammy Faye because I don't think enough people have seen Tammy Faye. I feel like even though I truly do not like Spencer, it did not work for me at all. I can picture Kristen Stewart being up on that stage, so I'm going to go with her. Jane Campion will win for directing for Power of the Dog, and Best Picture could easily be Power of the Dog, which would be the first Netflix win for a Best Picture Oscar. But my gut for the last, I don't know how many weeks and months, 3 months, has told me King Richard will win Best Picture. So
Yeah.
I am going with that for Best Picture of the year, especially if Will Smith gets it and the film gets editing and or adapt original screenplay as well. That will help it win Best Picture.
And you heard it here.
Heard it here. And I want to quickly point out, because I know Benita and I are hoping to do an episode with actors of different abilities. And I'm really excited this year that there's Coda and even in Drive My Car, my favorite moment in any of the Best Picture nominees was the end of when they're doing Uncle Vanya. And the actress is signing that whole last monologue. That is beautiful for theater lovers. Like, watch that bit of Drive My Car.
That whole theater aspect to Drive My Car, which we could go into for about 20 minutes, is really interesting. It's a very impressive film, Drive My Car. 3 hours, but a very unique experience watching that film.
I just looked at the clock. Once it hits a minute, who knows?
Yeah.
Zoom could zoom out on us. Jackson Murphy, wonderful, wonderful to see you, to have you join us again. All best, and let's not wait this long next time.
Thank you, ladies, very much for having me.
Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you next week. I'm Ellen Cribbs.
And I'm Benita Zahn. Take care.
Thank you so much for listening to the Everything Theater podcast. Special thanks goes out to Alice Grinling for our photography and Justin Friello for composing our amazing theme song. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to share your thoughts or what's going on in your theater community, you can reach out to us on social media or through our email at everythingtheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Till next time, it's everything.